5 ways PPC and SEO can work together to achieve business growth with Cathryn Stormont. The In Search SEO Podcast is brought to you by Similarweb, helping you build better SEO strategies with digital intelligence, insights and data. Hey, it's David. So far you've moved on from being SEO metric focused to being business goal orientated, and that means that you also need to be more aware of where SEO fits into the broader marketing mix, which in turn leads to how SEO and PPC can work together to achieve business growth. Which is what we're discussing today with a lady who has spent the past 14 years achieving business growth for SMEs and enterprises through SEO and PPC. Brands she's worked for include Hobbycraft, Wiggle and Grapetree, and she's currently speaking at Brighton SEO in April. A warm welcome to the In Search SEO Podcast, Cathryn Stormont.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Hey Cathryn, thanks for coming on. Well, you can find Cathryn over at digifreelancer.co.uk. So Cathryn, should all SEOs be working with PPC?
Absolutely. And there is a number of ways that SEO and PPC teams should really work together. And there's such a case of missed opportunity by working in silo. More often than not, companies and agencies, where they work in silo, they have their SEO teams and their PPC teams, and they just don't talk to each other. There's so much missed opportunity there. One of the ways that really can help improve things in terms of visibility from search, essentially what you're looking at here is one search engine. You're trying to get traffic to it. You're trying to get conversions to it. And you've got various different tools at your disposal, whether that's PPC, SEO, shopping, schema. You're looking at all the different things to create visibility on a search engine. What needs to be done here is that these two teams need to talk a bit more than they're doing at the moment. The first step of that is to really think, when you start a project, looking at combined search strategies. And that means not necessarily having your PPC team go off do keyword research, SEO team go off do keyword research, because essentially you're going to be coming up with similar things. You're going to have the same data, and it's a little bit of wasting up your time and doubling time here.
So what about if you are a solo SEO working in-house and your company outsources the PPC to an agency? Is it reasonable to expect that PPC agency to work closely with that in-house SEO expert to devise that combined search strategy?
Absolutely. So it could be a case of setting up an initial meeting between them. So, that agency will have had some initial analysis and look into trends in the search market, but also in the search team, and what would have done that as well. So what we'd do is bring that together in a meeting. It could just be a case of having a regular check-in on a monthly basis in terms of, and then coming up with a combined search strategy. So the search strategy could be, okay, they pulled all that data, we've got all that data, we're going to put that together into one big master sheet. We can target a certain amount of terms they're going to be for PPC, a certain amount of terms are going to be for SEO, and then we can work out what's best here. So say if the in-house SEO, okay, there isn't much, we're starting with a client, there isn't much going on. So they need to build an organic presence, and they think, okay, we're going to use the PPC agency to push out more traffic and that in the short term. But there may be a case of, okay, for the SEO side, we need to look at how we're going to maybe create good content pieces. That's going to be more top of the funnel. They're going to look at that side of things. And while the PPC team are going to focus on these head terms, and then there might be a little bit of crossover, and that's absolutely fine as well. There's all this talk of cannibalization, and studies have shown that doesn't, it's more, you're taking more real estate on this page, it's going to absolutely benefit your traffic. So it's not a problem if it crosses over, but things need to work together and complement each other.
Lovely. Okay, so I've definitely got a follow-up question based on crossover. But first off, I think you mentioned monthly. So should a combined strategy be revisited on a monthly basis?
You need to see whether it's working, yes. So if with organic, obviously things are a bit more long-term. So it's sometimes hard to see that to start with. So when I say monthly, I think more of a monthly check-in. As terms of your overall strategy, you want to be reviewing it, say, quarterly. So, whether things are going in the right direction in terms of whether you're getting the right traffic in, the right conversions that you're trying to get. it's really, if you can come together on a regular monthly basis, you can then come up with some further insights to help ways to tackle traffic. And I think that sort of brings me to my second point about sharing insights and sharing information that out through, not just copying the teams into the weekly reports or the monthly reports, but actually having brainstorming conversations.
Brilliant. Okay. And again, if we're in the situation where SEOs are operating in-house, or even PPCs are operating in-house, and you've got the other half of the picture operating out of house in agency side, how should those insights be shared to ensure that as much information as possible is passed between the two parties?
So as much as making sure that when you're passing and creating monthly, weekly reports for clients or for the board members, making sure that you're copied into it and in that respect. So if you've got, if a PPC team identifies looking through search term reports where they're looking at a regular basis, and they start seeing some patterns that a company wants certain features, that people are looking for certain products and the way that they're making decision making, then they need to start sharing that information with the organic teams or with people in-house, that actually it might be worth writing content on that. So then that will benefit the PPC team because they'll have a landing page for them to push to. So it's all about just trying to work together on that. And then on the other side of that, the organic teams are looking through something like Google Search Console, or they're looking at their key reports and they're seeing terms that are getting there's so many impressions or have so much volume that they just want to target, but they're just struggling to get there. Then they need to be starting to tell the agency and the PPC teams that, these are the terms they should be sponsoring. And then we can test and then see the click-through rates and the conversion rates and see if that's going to work to then roll that into the organic strategy.
There's so much that you touch upon that I want to come back to. You mentioned landing pages there. I'd like to ask you more about that. But let's go back to cannibalization first of all. And I was thinking about brand. So an easy win for PPC is to bid on brand. When is bidding for brand appropriate on PPC, and when is it appropriate not to bid on brand and just rely on that number one organic ranking for brand?
I think that you should generally always have a brand PPC campaign just to make sure that you've got some coverage in that area. The only exception when it's not necessary is if you haven't got a lot of competition in that space. So you haven't got many companies bidding for you, bidding on your brand name, and it's just you're the number one organic ranking, and there isn't much there. Then you may as well think about actually maybe we'll put that PPC budget elsewhere. Now, you have to bear in mind then that's why these two have to work together in that instance, because obviously with PPC, a lot of the final sales will need to come through the brand name, and we're taking that away. That means that your non-brand campaigns, if you as a headline on PPC, are never going to have as great results as they did with that brand campaign. So it's important then to have a report solely, this is the search engine, this is the traffic, these are the conversions from both SEO and PPC. Otherwise, you're going to make the PPC teams look bad. So where you don't need a brand campaign is basically where you haven't got much competition in those spaces.
So can you automate that from a PPC perspective? For instance, if you know that there is no one else bidding on your brand, you don't bid on your brand, but as soon as someone else starts bidding, then you have the automation that automatically bids on the brand on your behalf.
You can obviously set up the competitive monitoring tools to allow to work that out. So yeah, once that you can start seeing there's people bidding on your brand, then you can set up.
It alerts you, but you have to manually actually start the campaign.
Yes, you still have to manually set up the campaign, but you be monitoring always monitoring what your competitors are doing in terms of your brand name, definitely, because I see that too often and not, that people are thinking, well, why is my brand name organic traffic gone down? Just doing a simple search, you can suddenly see that you've got 3 or 4 competitors bidding PPC on that brand name. That's going to affect it.
Great. Okay. I'd like to find some way of automating that, because I would imagine you have competitors coming in and out depending on their requirements as well. But perhaps that's another conversation, delving too deep into PPC. But your third way of working together is sharing results to revise strategy.
Yes. So once you shared insights, and then once you've got that information, you can revise the strategy. So you may find that actually people aren't converting on certain terms. You think actually we're going to draw that back from the PPC and then apply a different approach to SEO. Another thing to look at, another way, is using PPC as a test platform for organic. That doesn't necessarily mean the PPC budget is going to suddenly be used on all these tests and you won't see the results. I'm just talking about carving out an element of your PPC budget you can run tests on landing pages, you can run tests on different ad copy. So where with PPC, you've got the different ad copy, you know what's working and you know what's not. You can see what messages. You can use that to form a basis for for page titles and meta descriptions. And so you know what's working. You can already use what's working to roll out organic. And then you can obviously test different landing pages and to roll and form your search strategy.
And then just briefly on landing pages, I mentioned that earlier on. Is it generally a good idea for organic and paid to share the same landing page, or is it possible to achieve much higher conversion rates on paid search by stripping out many aspects of a landing page and having their own landing pages?
I've found if you do PPC stripped down landing pages, that tends to work, but it depends on the search. If it's very much a bottom of the funnel transactional search that you don't want people getting distracted by going through the navigation, then having a paid PPC landing page is best. It's also best from a point of view that you could optimize that page in terms of the copy and the titles to get a good quality score for PPC. But SEO pages have a different purpose sometimes, depending. So if you're going for more of a top of the funnel content based, you're going to want people to explore the site. You're going to want the engagement to show interest to help all your organic presence.
So it depends applies to PPC as well, people. Moving on to number 4, offset PPC keywords against organic positions.
Yes. So you want PPC to take up the page. So we were talking about cannibalization before. That's fine to have both. But there are situations where you might want to start offsetting PPC and SEO. If you're starting to really get a good organic presence, you're starting to get, keywords in positions 1 and 2, you wanting to start then thinking, actually, maybe my PPC budget might be best used elsewhere on certain terms. And you can, by having the information from both teams again, so you can see a complete map of saying, this is the term on SEO, this is the term using PPC. You can see that. You can start offsetting each other and think, okay, I'm going to downweight PPC a little bit here because organic's winning in this particular area. And you can start using that budget to try and explore new areas on PPC. So it's just about trying to share that information again and learning and rebalancing both together.
And number 5, measure a common goal.
Yes. So in terms of measurement with PPC and SEO, people can get bogged down too much with all the little metrics. And what you've got to work out is what's important for your client or what's important for the board if you're reporting to a board. And ultimately, all they really care about is how much traffic am I getting to my website and how much conversion, how many sales or how many leads have been generated. And they see it. You can get away from the mindset of thinking separately and just think of it as a search engine. What we get from search, that's what needs to be reported. That's how we need to be thinking as well to the common goal is you need to come together and think, we want to get so much traffic growth for this company. We want to get X amount of leads or X amount of sales. And that's how we need to be thinking. So we need to step away so much from click-through rates and CPCs and all the different metrics and thinking about rankings. It's really just what is driving traffic to the site, how are we going to get it, how are we going to work together to get it.
Let's finish off with
the Pareto Pickle.
Pareto says you can get 80% of your results from 20% of your efforts. What's one SEO activity you would recommend that provides incredible results for modest levels of effort?
I think people forget about the fundamentals sometimes. And then for me, it's about page titles. It's too often not that companies, especially when they launch a new website, they will take the page title and across all the pages, maybe wrap the brand name on the end and don't write a compelling and optimized page title. And by doing that through all the key pages of the site, there's a really good opportunity in trying to improve the position and drive traffic to the site.
Superb. Okay. Page titles it is. And can that be automated, or does that have to be done on a manual basis?
It can be automated in the sense of getting the initial information, but it should be done, I think, manually, just in terms of the key pages to make sure that it is the right page title and the right structure.
Any thoughts in terms of optimum structure to achieve that optimum click-through rate?
Optimum structure, it's about making sure that it's written in the right way, that it's compelling, but also you need to get those key phrases in there and making sure that they are right at the start, right there, but also allowing enough between the page title to accept the variations of the various terms that are going to come up. And also think about the brand name as well. People don't even always toy whether they're going to include their brand name in the page title. And I think there is a certain element of encourages a click-through. It encourages, this is a reputable company, you know who it is, you can see what it is. And I think that's really important to include.
I've been your host, David Bain. You can find Cathryn Stormont over at digifreelancer.co.uk. Cathryn, thanks so much for being on the In Search SEO podcast.
Great, thank you.
And thank you for listening. Check out all the previous episodes and sign up for a free trial of the Similarweb platform over at Similarweb.com.